What's up, guys? Check out what showed up today. Heck yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna pull this in the shop here and I'm gonna do a video on unboxing it. All right, so got the top open. By the way, this is boxed really well. Really heavy cardboard, stapled together. I got high hopes for it. So, okay, it's attached. I was thinking maybe that was just a lead, you had to attach it. So let me zoom you guys out. Here we go. So, oh, that didn't work. Here we go. So boxed really, really well. All right, so you guys can feel the struggle with me. See how heavy it is. Oh, it's not bad. Not bad at all. I'd say probably 50 pounds. I don't know. I didn't look at the specs. I don't honestly remember what it's supposed to be as far as weight. So there we go. Pro Pulse 220 MTS. Ooh, 40th anniversary edition. Ah, that would be why it's silver and not red. Which, honestly, not a complaint because I'm not really the complainer type, but a little sad because if you watch my other two videos, you know how much I love red, obviously. So it's a little sad, but I'm pretty excited to have this in the shop. So let me spin it around here without hurting something. So Euro style connectors, and it's a multi-process. Yeah, I believe it does stick and TIG, so those are going to be your leads for that. I'm assuming that's just like the controller lead. I'm not 100% sure. I'll find that out. I've got another box here of all the stuff. I got because I'm mainly going to use this. Yeah, that's a two-handed opening. I am mainly, probably 95% going to use this for aluminum. And if you guys don't know, this is one of the, I won't say one of the few, because I think you can do it with about any machine. But one of the few machines that is regularly what people do with them is you can aluminum weld with a normal gun. You do not need a spool gun. I believe you can do it even on my Miller, but you have to get a shorter, because that's a 10-foot gun. You have to get a shorter gun. The one for this is an 8-foot, and it has to have the Teflon liner. So a lot of people don't go through that trouble. They just get the spool guns, or in some of the bigger machines like the 255 and things like that, they get the push-pull gun, which is big money upgrade, which, is what it is. If you need 20-some feet or whatever, yeah, that's definitely, but I don't. I bought a nice extension cord. I could have made one, but that was only like 80 bucks or something. I bought a nice extension cord. It's got I believe it's a 10-foot cord on this end, on its, on the machine itself. So 10-foot cord. And then I don't know if I pointed out in my shop review, but I've got 50 amp there, 50 amp over behind the press, 50 amp right there, and then there's a 50 amp back behind the toolboxes. So they're kind of all over the shop. So with a 20-foot extension cord, I can go anywhere in the shop. So that, I think, will be the best deal for me. I got real tired of using the spool gun. I did it pretty, I'm not the boasting type, but pretty successfully. I did pretty damn good with it. But it's just so cumbersome. I don't like it. So, yeah, so, plastic, which so is the Miller. I've been eyeing this machine so that stays in there. And there's your knob for your spools to catch. I don't know how that works. Assuming you can tighten that spring like that, so I'll have to kind of read the manual on that, but I think you just put it in there and just tighten it up and call it good. Like the Miller, you can make it tighter and looser, so. These machines, if you don't know anything about them, these machines are made in, I believe it's Italy. And they're imported to I believe there's only the one dealer in Illinois, I believe, Illinois. Yeah, USA Weld is their website, usaweld.com. Not sponsored or anything, obviously. It's a Swiss, I think, Swiss drive mechanism. Yeah, Swiss feed. I don't think I can zoom that in, but it says right there, Swiss feed. So it is a single roller, but I've heard a lot of really good reviews on it. Yeah, it's made out of some plastic. But again, it's hard to argue with all the good feedback I've heard about them. So we'll see. I know that Miller and I think Lincoln really prides themselves on like their dual drive rollers and all that. And they're usually at the angle and all that sort of stuff. But, for the price of these, and it's not so much the price. I didn't care about paying the almost $4,000 for like a 255 Miller that I could run to get the pulse. So that's big thing with this is it does pulse and double pulse. That was my biggest thing. And the smallest Miller that does that is the Miller-Matic 255. $4,000 for that, plus a spool gun is $1,200 or more. God forbid you want the push-pull. That's like, what was it, $3,000, I think? I mean, this whole thing came to my door with a box full of, I got a steel gun, aluminum gun, roll of wire, bunch of consumables, the machine, everything. Oh, there you go. Made in Italy. Everything for $2,300. So, I mean, even if it fails, I can buy 2 of them for the price of 1 Miller. So I figured, why not? If you've seen my shop tour video, you know that I don't like to do things cheap, quote unquote, air quotes, but there's certain things that I just don't see the reason to spend god-awful amounts of money on. One thing I do for sure is my Milwaukee stuff. I know they're on the higher side and probably for no real reason, but that's kind of just because I love red, and I've taken a big liking to Milwaukee. So anyway, so I think we will, yeah, everything feels good. It feels very sturdy. Like I said, it is some plastic. Well, I think it's plastic. Let me take my glove off. Yeah, it's definitely some sort of composite plastic setup, but it feels pretty, comes with a different drive roller. The drive rollers are definitely steel or something. Yeah, they're nice and heavy. So this is definitely steel, the steel shaft and everything. So, we'll see. I'm not going to sit here and say they're the best or they're amazing because I don't know yet. But I bought it because I really wanted pulse. And as an added, I really didn't want to have to use a spool gun if I didn't have to. The price was just a plus. So, let me get this box opened up. All right. I can't remember everything I got, but I know I got a big roll of aluminum wire because my local supplier doesn't, they have to order them. So there's the, oops, sorry, let me zoom you back out. There we go. So there's the manual. You got, I believe this might be the stuff I ordered extra, all the consumables. I ordered extra consumables for everything because I don't know that I can find them locally. That is definitely a downside. That was a pretty huge concern of mine before I ordered it, was the fact that I don't think I can get any of these consumables locally, so I have to plan ahead for that. I decided that wasn't a huge thing. Yeah, I just need to plan ahead. So we'll see. Time will tell how that'll come out. It might frustrate me. I don't know. But yeah, manual. I believe the box in here is the aluminum gun consumable kit. And then these are just some extra tips I ordered for the steel gun. So, yeah, and I think those are thrown in. I'm not sure what those are. I don't know. Oh, maybe they're supposed to go in that box. I'm not sure. Well, there's that. So this should be the aluminum gun. Lay it down here. That should be the aluminum gun. Yep, 26 series, 8-foot aluminum gun. And it doesn't say aluminum, I just know that 8-foot 26 is the aluminum. So I'm assuming in here, I don't know what, oh, that's the, oh, okay, so this is all the extra stuff for the So yeah, it's got a Victor regulator. So that's pretty cool. Did not realize it was a name brand regulator. I did not realize that was something they had with it. I obviously didn't research well enough because I did not know that. So that's cool. I wonder if the local or the USA importer adds that, because that seems, unless they're not made here, it says assembled in Mexico. I don't know, unless they are, they do actually come with that. I don't know. So yeah, so let's open that up. Yeah, so it's a nice regulator. It's not one of the flow meter styles, but, or what are they called? Not a flow meter. I don't remember what they're called, with the tower on them. But nice Victor. Yeah, looks good. Oh, look at that. I'm sure that's not something to live by, but it even tells you TIG, MIG. Huh, I'll be damned. That's cool. Yeah, very heavy. Looks probably pretty well built. So yeah, cool. All right. Got back in there. What else we got in here? So yeah, there's the, so I really wanted, I'll worry about that later. So I really wanted, I'm kind of making a mess here, the 12 or 15 foot MIG gun, steel MIG gun. But they were like out for a long time, out of stock. So, because my Miller has a 10-footer, so I really kind of wanted to get a longer one in case I ever wanted to use it. But I go back to, I don't really need it. It was an upgrade money-wise that I was kind of dumb in all in all thinking back. So I'm fine with having, I probably will very, very rarely use the steel MIG gun. So that's my whole point of getting this and not having to switch the Miller over constantly. So, yeah, that's kind of my point on that. So I just got it in case I needed it. What else we got down here? Oh, there's the, oh, that's a nice, wow. Okay, that's a nice, I mean, it's not like holy crap quality, but it's definitely nicer than, so that's the gas hose. I don't know, I'm sure some of you people watching this have probably dealt with them, but look at Miller's. Miller's is just a thin, clear, I mean, it's heavy, I guess, sort of, but it's just kind of a thin, clear deal. It's like a proprietary regulator that's honestly kind of so-so to me. I'm not knocking it because I love my Millers, but compared to feeling that Victor, this feels kind of chintzy, in all honesty. So, and if we come back here to the HTP, it's got like crimped fittings. See there, crimped fittings. It's pretty heavy black tube. It's smaller. I don't know what the inside diameter's like. But the hose physically is smaller, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, first impression, I'm pretty impressed with it. So what else we got hiding in here? Ooh, nice big ground clamp, honestly. This is hard one-handed. Get all the peanuts out of it. Yeah, actually really nice ground clamp. So really pretty high-end ground clamp. Very strong. Holy crap. I mean, I don't have the strongest hands, but dang. That is tough to open. So yeah, nice big ground clamp. That's nice. For a second, I thought they sent me another gun. That's funny. Okay, I think the only thing left is going to be wire. Yeah, right here it is. So yeah, I got a 8-inch, was it 15 pound, 11 pound? I don't remember. 8 pound. No, because it's 8-inch. I don't remember. 5 pound. I bet it's 5 pound. That sounds right. Yep, 5 pound. There we go. Wow, I was all over the board there. Yeah, so I got a 8-inch, 5 pound roll of, I like this Alcotech. Well, for one, look at that, made in the USA. Hell yeah. But I ran a little bit of their wire in the small spools on my spool gun, and I really liked it. So I was pretty glad to see they stocked this, and pretty good price on it. So I went ahead and had them throw a roll of it in. I mean, good Lord. 5 pounds, that'll last me quite a long time. For the projects I've been doing, 5 pounds will last me quite a while. So, yeah, and, you know, they pretty fast shipping. The thing that took the longest is they didn't have it. When I got it on a little bit of a, like Black Friday special sort of deal, and I didn't want to miss out on it, but they were not in stock. So I waited about a week and a half, maybe almost 2 weeks. They said they were coming, and the lady emailed, very, very nice people. So far, I haven't had to like do anything serious, but their customer service has been really good. So she emailed, said it would be probably a week or two. They'd call for payment. They did, about a week and a half. And she said there was 65 orders ahead of me. I was 65th or 66th on the list. So yeah, they got it out pretty quick. So, all right, that is not going to work. So I had a cart that I had my plasma cutter on. And I was like, well, I don't use the plasma cutter that much. So for right this moment, because I need to get going on a project today, I thought, well, I'll put it on this cart. And it's not that heavy a machine in reality, but yeah, that ain't gonna work. That is no bueno. Which is fine, because in reality, what I'm probably gonna do is go to town, go to Harbor Freight. They've got the Vulcan cart. Probably just gonna get that. Yeah, I know, I'm a welder. Should just make myself a cart. I don't really have time. You know, I got a lot of other things going besides this welding shop, and I just don't have the time right now. But for now, for $100, I can go get the much heavier duty, at least in the reviews, Vulcan cart at Harbor Freight. Probably going to go to town and look at that. There we go. I didn't do a video, or I did a video on it, but it's not going to be in this video. I'll do a separate one in case anybody wants to see it on the Vulcan welding cart. Actually, I know probably going to get roasted because a lot of people hate Harbor Freight, but you can't beat it. It's a heck of a lot better than those stupid things. So, I mean, it's pretty, I need to tighten those up just a little bit. I see they move a little bit, but I mean, honestly, 10 times sturdier than those, and the welder actually fits on it. The Pro Pulse is just a little narrower, but way taller than my Miller, and it fits like a dream. I actually bought two. I'm going to put the Miller on one as well. So anyway, yeah, so it's on there. I got everything hooked up. As you can see, I just ran this around because there was a nice hole there to put it in. I got the aluminum gun on it. And yeah, I'm going to stick a roll of wire in it, and then I'll fire it up. Comes with this when you order the aluminum kit or whatever it's called, with the aluminum gun. So I got to put that in real quick. And then it comes with, for those little 8-inch rolls, it comes with this little spacer, which I think is hilarious. It's basically just PVC, but don't throw me away. It's needed for the 8-inch spools, so I think it is just PVC. But anyway, so it's going to slip on there and space that. I think it's going to go in the back and then space the spool out. I got to check to make sure. But also, I don't remember if I mentioned earlier, this is a 8-inch. I think I mentioned it's an 8-inch, but it's an 8-inch spool. Get in there of 035 4043. Scares the crap out of me that this thing will feed 4043 because I can barely get it to feed through my little 6-inch of run in my spool gun, but they say it does and does it well, so we're gonna find out. All right, wire is on, little spacer is in, got her tightened up good. One thing to note, at least on this Alcotech spool, getting that little drive pin, getting the spool slid on that little drive pin, it was a little bit, took a little finesse. It didn't want to just slip on there. It's a pretty tight fit, so just something to pay attention to. Don't just slip it on and go. It actually took a little bit of, like wiggling around and having to push pretty good to get it on there. So it's very snug. One thing that is quite interesting, again, I've never worked with these big spools of aluminum, is it doesn't just want to uncoil itself. I accidentally let it go and it just kind of hung there. I was surprised. So next thing is pop that off, unscrew this little nut, and slide the drive roll off. So there's the steel drive roll. It is not knurled, so it's not for, I have to get a knurled one if I want, excuse me, if I want to do any flux core. But, oops, almost took the wire off. And we got, I think I already showed you, but we got that little guy. Just slip it out. And I believe the bag said, yeah, this is 035 and 045. So we're going to want the smaller side facing us, which is interesting. It's the bigger number. This side here is definitely smaller. So that's odd. This is 10A, that's 12A. Interesting. Anyway, so there's a little keyway, as you can see there. Slips right, oh, that's why. That's why. Again, somebody's probably screaming at the screen. So it drives on the rear one, not the front one. So yeah, the smaller number needs to face out. Okay. So also, 1 is about where you want it. 1.5 is like max. I apparently with 53, 56, which is understandable, it's a little different. You can go a little more, but if you go much tighter than that, it can deform it and not drive right. So there we go. So I'm gonna, again, because I need both hands, I'm gonna grab a pair of snips, snip the end of that wire off, and get it started in there. All right, there we go. So got her in there, got her set just a shade over 1. It just doesn't feel right to me to be less than 1 or even at 1. So I'm gonna go just a shade over 1 and let's see what happens. We got power to it. By the way, pretty impressed with like this door and everything. Pretty dang heavy. My cart is just, there we go. Everything, its fit and finish seems really, really nice. Yeah, there's some plastic stuff, you know, like this handle and everything. Also, I didn't realize this is spring-loaded. So, interesting. But these hinges, but they're really a nice, heavy... I mean, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of plastic stuff, but you can't knock them. Also, it's kind of cool. You can go watch that. Or they give you actually a really, really good manual. Like, there's even, like, if somebody's new at this, there's even, like some pro tips and things like that in there. Really good manual. So on the back here, it's kind of an odd switch right there. It's not just a flip, it is a turn switch. So I'm gonna put you up here and I'm gonna turn it on. Don't mind my squeaky chair. So we have turned on. Now I don't even remotely have any idea how to do all the settings on here per se. I had to go grab the manual because a quick understanding, definitely not new to welding, but very new to these, what I would consider fancy machines, especially Pulse and things like that. So I really didn't know what the difference between MIG 2T and MIG 4T was. I kind of stared at it blankly for a minute, trying to figure out what exactly it meant. So I went and grabbed the manual. And let me tell you guys, if nothing else, this machine is as good as they said it was. The manual is worth a ton. I'm going to kind of put, I know this is kind of janky, but I'm going to put it here. Like, these explanations, it's straight up, here we go. It fully described to me what 4T was versus 2T. And even, like, this attention, they reprogrammed it for the pulsed aluminum programs. Pro tips. Note, try and avoid turning the machine off and stitch mode. I mean, it is very thorough. And, like, let me scroll back. There's, like, 3 pages just on, you know, different things. You know, like this. Nice little pro tip or tip. You know, I can't say enough about the manual, so I'm actually going to not weld with it right now. I'm just going to kind of play with it here a little bit, and I'm going to go in and do a bunch of reading in this book because I'm pretty impressed with that. So the gist of it is I want to stick to 2T. 4T seems like a whole new process I need to learn. Basically what it is, I'm not even going to try and just make my own words out of it. I'm just going to take their words out of it. What it says is... the difference between 2T and 4T is the trigger function. 2T is basically you press the trigger, wire goes, you know, you weld, you depress the trigger, it stops, etc. 4T, you press the trigger, and that starts the gas. You release the trigger, and that starts the wire feed, and you weld without holding the trigger. And then when you get to the end, you press the trigger, that stops the arc, and then you depress the trigger, and that stops the gas. and while I can see some places that would be very useful, I got to play with that. I'm not just going to jump into that. So, left it on 2T. I think this here is the button. Yep. You know, it's kind of bright. I don't know how much it's going to pick up of that. Let me play with it here. There we go. So you got your, oops. You got your mild steel programs. So you take this guy here. Go the other way. Nope, go this way. No? Yes? Oh, there we go. It's the bottom one. Okay. So you got all your mild steel programs. Okay, then you jump into aluminum, and it's hard to see, but that's 5356 in the different wire sizes. All 5356. Here's 3/64. There's a 5356 double pulse. I mean, all sorts of things. Now we get into the 4043. And there's just normal in 035. And here's 035 pulse, and then 035 double pulse. And then you can do 3/64 just plain. And then it goes on. There's stainless steel, silicon bronze, and then flux cord gasless, flux cord basically dual shield. So, yeah, that's pretty sweet. It's interesting. You can only pulse with 030, and of course 8 to 10%, which that's, yeah, I totally get that. Come back here. That's interesting. That's the only one you can pulse on. I apparently don't know enough about steel pulse or really any pulse, so I'll have to do some more research on that. But I'm here for the aluminum. That's why I bought this machine. So I'm just gonna put it on that one. I know we don't really need a so what happens if I, oh, okay, so that you can move it with. Interesting. All right. And then select that. Okay, so it wants to run, what is that, 65 amps, 18 volts, 18.2. So you've got your thickness selection here. And like I'm running, oh, there we go. So that's the stock. Is that how I change? No. How do I change? Please push. Nope. You guys are learning with me here. Nope. Okay. So there we can set start speed, start time, burn back and pinch, slope, gas setting pre and post, spool gun off. Okay, so I had to do a little learning there. So I was a little confused because I was in this 40, I'm sorry, you can't see it. 4043, 035, 100% argon, and just regular MIG. And it would only go up to basically 080, 079, I think it was. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. So but I jumped over to pulse, and now we can get up, there we go, 120. That's what I'm welding on. So yeah, we can kind of, there's some different places you can do 120, you know. And you know, all this stuff is completely fluid. You can do whatever you want with it, but oh yeah, there's lots of room in 120. Okay. And you know, obviously welding is not about just going by the welder settings. But like this, where I don't know exactly how all this wants to work, and I've never used this welder, I'm going to rely a little bit on some of those pre-done settings. So, and then I'll play with it from there. So, but yeah, let's see here. Let's back this guy up. Well, that's funny looking. Let's see how it wants to feed some wire before we turn the gas on. Let me straighten this guy out. Really nice feeling gun. I really like it. Feels really nice. Yeah, it's only an 8-footer, but see what it does. Nope, I feel it. It's doing something. Probably should turn the wire feed up. Haha, success. I'll be danged if it does not feed 035 4043 through that gun. I mean, I haven't welded with it. That'll be the real test, but just getting it out through here, I can feel it running through the thing, and I felt like it hit a little spot down here, maybe. It was very faint, but it kind of felt like it. I'm like, oh boy, it's rat's nesting. But no, it fed right through, popped right out. Interesting thing, again, never MIG welded like this with aluminum. Only ever used the spool guns. It says right in the manual, you got 035, you need to use 040 tips. That's interesting fact that sorry, camera work is not good today. So yeah, it's an 040 tip. So there it is. Cool beans, I'm excited. So let's fire the gas up here. See what it's set at. I don't even know if this tank really has it. Oh yeah, it sure does. Oh yeah, I've been doing a bunch of steel lately the last few days, so I didn't even remember how much was in this. All right, so here we go. I don't like to run much over right in there. My aluminum, I gotta play with it because their gauge says I should be from there up. And well, see, that's not CFH. What is mine? Of course, again, this is not a flow meter, so I know that's a little different, or flow, whatever. Yeah, CFH. I run aluminum. That's at steel. I run aluminum at about 25, which is what, about 12 LPM. What is that, liters per minute? So let's see what we got going on here. So yeah, I usually run between 20 and 30 CFH. So I don't know why that gauge has that up in that zone, but I'm gonna leave it on the high side so I don't burn up some tips, hopefully, while I'm playing with it. And I don't think I can contain myself. I think I'm gonna grab a couple scrap pieces and see what it does. So real quick, what I'm gonna do is, it runs between 90 and 110 for 120. So I put it on 100, and we'll just see what the factory setting does, and we'll go from there. This is straight pulse, not double pulse, and 035, so I'll get suited up, and we'll see. I'm not gonna be able to get you any arc shots, but I will show you directly afterwards. All right, we are ready to go. I got a couple pieces of 6061 made in the USA aluminum, so get everything set up on the gun. I got my gas on, and let's see what it does. This is actually the next day, and I'm gonna leave the old footage in there so somebody can learn the same as I did. I did some things pretty wrong when I set the machine up. You know, if anybody that's watching this already has one, they're probably like screaming at their screen, like, no, don't do that. I screwed up. So I got really discouraged last night. I did what I said I wasn't going to do, and I just went ahead and tried it without really knowing what I was looking at. Still don't know for sure, but I got a better idea, and it was bad. It wasn't good at all. Really bad burn back. Yeah, it wasn't good. It didn't make, I'll show you here in a second. It didn't even make remotely a decent weld, or really even a weld. So, but like I said, I'm not going to cut that footage out. I could, but I'm not going to. I feel like that might be a good learning experience. So what I am going to do is show you what I did wrong, and I'll show you some welds. I still haven't got the machine quite dialed in, but it is very acceptable at this point. So I'm still working on some of the like slope settings and pinch and all that. So, but let me go over the biggest thing that I did wrong. Okay, well, here, let me shut this off. By the way, this is what's weird, I'm not used to with the Miller, is the fan runs constant. So it's a little bit, and it takes a second to shut off. It's weird for me. So as you can see, the roll of wire is in a different spot. I made a very large mistake when I put, let me get in here, when I put that spacer on the outside. I don't know if that was all of my issue, because I also changed some settings after moving the wire, but it was definitely an issue, because what I did was, what I said I was going to do and never did, is I went through and read the really, really, really nice manual that this comes with, and HTP has a whole series of videos on their YouTube account that set how to set up the machine, how to look at all the settings, and even, you know, I think Peter is his name, tells you roughly what settings you should use. Obviously, everybody's going to adjust accordingly to what they're doing or how they like to weld. But that at least gave me a starting point that I did not have. So listen to my earlier version where I said, you know what, I really should read this really extensive manual before I try and weld anything. I should have stuck to that big time. And there's a lot of good little tips and tricks in there on setting up the welder. So yeah, I would, if you get this welder, I would recommend doing that. One of the biggest things was he clearly said spacer goes on the inside, and this roll should be, even this I think is a little tight, but it should be pretty loose. And you loosen it with that center thing there, that turn. I'm not going to move it, but you tighten this big nut up. This nut, this little guy here with the little indent for a screwdriver, that you move in and out until it's, I know it's hard to tell, but it's pretty loose. Okay, so that was a huge mistake I did. The next big mistake, again, I'm probably not going to cut it out, so you guys will get to laugh at me. I apparently have been doing it very wrong, or it's just different with the Miller. I don't know, with the spool gun. But my next biggest thing is I had that set very wrong. This is actually, these colors and everything is relatively accurate. It says right in the manual for aluminum pulse, you should be running 40 to 50 CFH. I'm only at 40. I might up that a little bit. I just, feels like I'm just using a crap load of gas. But it is what it is. And I had it down below 30. So I don't know if that was all my issues again, but that definitely was a issue. Okay guys, so here's a little update. This is where I'm at. It's not coming out too bad, but here's the deal. So I have found a weak spot in my ability, and that is that pulse is almost 1,000 times different than anything I'm used to, mostly meaning short circuit. It's just completely worlds different, and I failed miserably at it. If you can see here, just the piles of different things I've been welding together. So I was just about to just return this thing 2 days ago. That's how long it's been since in real time, it's been 2 days since the first part of this video. And I was just about to just send it back. I was done. I was over it. It was not going well. I did not figure it was the machine, but I was done. I was over it. So I reached out to HTP, which, by the way, you can't, that's honestly the whole reason I'm going to keep the machine, because, I mean, you cannot beat their customer service. I don't know if anybody's watched Peter Zilla, I don't know how you say it, his videos. He also does most of the HTP videos. I don't know his position in the company, if he owns it or if he just works it, I don't know. But he reached out to me on his personal cell phone, and he was on the phone with me for over an hour, which included, you know, we went from beginning to end on making sure the machine was set up right, which I show you guys the things I did wrong there, but everything's good now. And then he literally said, here, set it to this, put the phone down, run a bead, see what it does. And I did that probably 15 times of different settings, different things. He explained some stuff to me. I mean, he clearly could tell I was, you know, I had no experience with the pulse, and not as much experience probably as I should with aluminum. And he went right down to the nitty-gritty stuff. Like, it was awesome. It was the biggest learning experience I've had in a long time, and I'm forever grateful. What a conclusion I have come to. I love the machine. There's nothing wrong with the machine. Love the machine. But for now, I'm on a time crunch for this project. I have like a week to get it done, and I've got probably 8 days worth of work. So a little tip he shared with me, I'll show you guys. By the way, I'm running 4043 035, and he gave me a tip of to run just this program for 3/64, but it's non-pulse, and it almost like it brings me back into a comfort zone. I feel like I'm running my spool gun. That's not why I bought this machine, so I don't want to stick to that forever, but he's got me to where I'm not frustrated, and I can get this project done without I mean, I could switch my Miller back over and run the spool gun and get it done, but I'd like to use this. You know, I paid quite a bit of money for it. I'd like to use it. So he's got me running that, and that's what I've come up with is this here. It's not great. There's a little bit of a crater there, not too bad. But I've at least got something close. I'll show you this. I have to redo this one because it's so bad. Like it's rough. Trying to see some different spots. You know, I've got some not great, but well, that one, see, that one's lacking some fusion right there, so I got to grind that one out. This one over here is not too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad. So, a couple of these I've got to basically just grind them down and go back over them. But I'm at least to a point where I'm feeling somewhat successful. So, my plan is to finish this project, and then I've got some downtime over the winter, or the rest of the winter. Not really downtime, but I've got some time that I don't have a lot of aluminum projects to do. I can sit here and play with Pulse. It's something about it. Honestly, he took me into the double pulse settings, and I did pretty well with that. And I did good with this regular Synergic non-pulse setting, but something about the pulse setting, I just, And he was honest with me. You know, he said, to be completely honest, I'm not 100%. How did he word that? It's maybe not the most ideal machine for what I'm doing. He was very honest with me. Because I'm doing a ton of these, they're dog walks, but they kind of look like a ladder, and it's all 1-inch square tube, and just, the longest weld is 1 inch. And he's like, at least in the Pulse, it does not excel at that. And I don't think it's necessarily like there's something wrong with the machine. He said just the Pulse and the way this machine is programmed, designed, the short welds right near the end of that 1 inch is when it's really settling in and working good, which is exactly what I experienced. So that's something to think about if any of you are in the market for this machine. I think it is a fantastic machine, and I tell you that after 2 days, at least 2.5 days of pure frustration. I just almost boxed it back up and sent it back. Again, I don't think it was the machine's fault. Well, it's quite clear now it was not the machine's fault. But I was beyond frustrated. I just felt like every time I pulled that trigger, I got a different result, and it was just driving me insane. So, but I'll say what Peter kind of quickly came to the conclusion of is most of the issue was me. I'm used to short circuit. I've done some spray arc, but on steel it just did not feel like that. Some flux core over gas sort of deal. And what ultimately ended up being is I was just trying to go too fast and do too much. And I was not used to the Pulse. You have to use so much less power, heat, basically. So I need to work on me. As funny as that sounds. So I think I'm going to take the winter, and I'm going to work on that and see what I come up with. For now, he showed me some good settings and some good way. And with this program here that's not Pulse, I feel comfortable. If it runs just like a spool gun. So I'm more comfortable with that. It's keeping me going, keeping my want to get this done and not want to sell the machine. And then after this winter, if I can't kind of get it down or I feel like it just is not going to work for what I want to do, then maybe I'll think about going a different route, which my only route is basically just go back to the spool gun. So I really want to enjoy this not having a spool gun. And so far I do, like getting into tight spots and stuff. It's great. I love it. And it's been feeding wonderfully. I've not had a single issue with feeding. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Hopefully nobody takes this as I've got any sort of issue with the machine. I felt like I was yesterday, but today I realize it's definitely not the machine. It's definitely me. But things like that where it's more, the pulse setting anyway, is more meant for longer and keeping your heat down. It's not quite meant for what I'm trying to do. That's something to think about. So, and something you should think about before shelling out the money. With that being said, I'm really glad. I'm glad to have this machine, but I'm really glad I did not fork out the $4,000 for the Pulse Miller machine, the 255, with the spool gun, which was another $1,200, only to find out Pulse really doesn't work that well for me. Never been able to find that sort of info on the internet. So, yeah, I don't know. There's my thoughts. I will do a little bit more talking about the machine, but again, I like it. I just have to learn to... I need to be better and different and learn different things and learn how to work with the machine and let it basically be my friend. So, there you go. If you're thinking about an HTP, if nothing else, their customer service is 1,000% worth it. Beyond Peter, which I'm pretty sure he's like the owner or something, I'm not sure. Besides him just calling me off of his personal cell phone and telling me, go ahead and save my number, and if you have some issues, just text me a picture and I'll try and help you at any point. I mean, that's worth its weight in gold. And then like when it shipped here, I think I showed it earlier in the video that a couple of things were broke and there was something missing, and they just sent new ones to me. I haven't got them yet, but they just put them in the mail. No problem. No questions asked. No problem. Yeah, it's hard to beat, guys. I'm not saying nobody else does that, like Miller or Lincoln or, whoever, Hobart, but a lower price machine, I feel pretty equal quality, honestly. I mean, it's been great. We'll see, time will tell, but with that kind of customer service, very personalized customer service, that was Peter's personal cell phone. I just can't get over it. I'm forever grateful. I mean, as you guys know, as I've said earlier, I'm very self-taught, so to have somebody sit there on the phone with me and help me through that means a lot. So it is what it is, or take that for what it is in your decision process if you're looking at one of these machines. And yeah, so all right, guys, thanks a lot. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, especially on this. I'm sure there'll be some comments, good or bad, I don't know, but please comment, give me your thoughts. So have a good one, guys.